I'm Antonio Sala, and in this video we are going to present the modeling of a bioreactor as an example of a first-order unstable system. Of course, the model will be an approximation because we will just consider the, let's say, duplication rate, so we will end up with an exponential explosion of population, but in real-life bioreactors, growth is limited by substrate, nutrient concentrations, temperature, pH, toxic metabolites, mutations. So, even if we will just end with a very simple first-order differential equation, consider this only as a motivation towards the complex world of kinetics of microorganism growth. But okay, let's start with the basic idea of the exponential growth of a population of microorganisms. A bioreactor is a vessel in which some algae, bacteria or fungi or whatever grow there in a fluid solution with some nutrients, say glucose or whatever, called substrate, at some temperature and other conditions that are fixed with some control systems, etc. This is a picture of another bioreactor. And this is a schematic diagram of it, in which, we have some stirring because the bacteria or whatever thing it's growing there needs to be stirred to ensure uniform concentration of everything, substrate, and avoiding maybe filaments or balls of organic material that make growth to be non-uniform. Maybe we need some air income with this aerator. If we have an aerobic reaction that needs oxygen, we can feed either an initial population of the cells we want to grow and some glucose or whatever. We can extract fluid from the tank, and we have some temperature, pH, concentration sensors in order to control this process, and maybe we have some thermal jacket to be able to keep an optimal growth temperature. So it's in this kind of installations where microorganisms are grown for food industry or pharmaceutical companies or whatever. Then let us start with modeling issues. We have this bioreactor, and then, the number of cells in there, the population, we will call it x of t. It's a function of time. Such population will be, a group of these black dots here that live in the fluid and happily move around, consuming some nutrients dissolved in there and living happily until they decide to divide. So randomly, we'll see now statistical model, some cells decide to divide, so two offsprings, identical copies of it, start living la vida loca again, and then after a while maybe this one divides, so one more cell in the count appears every time a cell divides. So how are we going to model this? We will assume that there is an underlying statistical model, in the sense that we will assume that the probability for a small increment of time, the probability of a given cell, say this one, this is Johnny, the probability of Johnny and the splitting in two is proportional to the time span, let's say 0.4 delta t. What do we mean with this? Well, we can imagine that chemical reactions happen by, random collisions of some molecules in the bacteria's cellular body. They meet and then they react. So somehow nature is rolling the dice. Say every second, nature draws a random number from 0 to 1000, and if it is 632, then the cell divides. And if it's not, then the cell does not divide and continues living until the next second we repeat that again. So this will be, if delta t is in the range of those seconds or whatever, then for instance, what will happen about the probability of splitting in the interval 0 to dt? Well, in that case, I will call this A, so the probability is A. And we will make an increment of t very small, infinitesimal, so that's why I put the dt, but okay, let's keep it finite for the moment being. Then the thing is that, well, this A is the probability of splitting in this interval. Then, which is the probability of splitting in the interval 0 to increment of t? Well, in that case, it will be the probability of splitting in the first half of this double-sized interval plus the probability of not splitting in that first half and times, if they are, independent, the probability of splitting in the second half. Then this thing will be carrying out these operations 2a minus a squared. Then, if I wish to compute the probability of splitting in 3, let's say, base intervals, then, again, it will be the probability of splitting in the first 2 increments of time plus the probability of surviving without splitting during 2 base intervals, delta t, which is this thing, times the probability of splitting in the third interval between 2 and 3 delta t. And this thing will be carrying out operations in here times a. This will give me 3a minus 3a squared plus a cubed, well, and so on. But the idea is that if this increment of time, base time interval, is very small and tends to 0, then a tends to 0, so a squared, a cubed are negligible compared to just a, so the dominant term for small a will be a, 2a, 3a, so this justifies our assertion that if we think on a very small base time interval, infinitesimally small when we will derive differential equations, then the probability of an arbitrary cell splitting is proportional to that time interval. And the constant of proportionality in this case will be, let's say, 0.4, and this will be called the growth rate. Of course, if we keep increasing the width of this interval, then the probability of a cell splitting in a very large interval, when we put a lot, 3, 4, 5, 10 million delta t's, then the probability of the cell splitting will tend to 1. Indeed, this is the probability of splitting in the first interval. This is not in the first and in the second. This is not in the 2 first intervals, but yes in the third, plus so on. So this is a times the summation of this geometric progression, and this is a times the formula for the sum is 1 over 1 minus the ratio of the progression, but this is the ratio, 1 minus a. So carrying out operations, indeed, this is equal to 1. So every cell will ultimately split, but in a very short time interval, the probability of splitting is proportional to that time interval length. Not so in a long time interval, in which, well, we will derive indeed the exponential growth law in a minute. Because now the thing is that this is what happened to our friend Johnny there, just counting how long it takes to ultimately divide. But now let us consider Johnny and his billion siblings in here. Then when billions of random phenomena occur, we will observe just the average behavior. That's, thermodynamics. Even if we have collisions of molecules in gases, fluids, chemical reactions, when we have billions and trillions of those molecules or of those bacteria, then the only observable we will measure in our experiments will be the average behavior. So, indeed, if we now consider that each increment of time, every bacteria throws a dice to decide if it divides or it doesn't divide, then, okay, if the dice has probability A of splitting, if I have given n bacteria individuals, then A times this n bacteria will be the number of new cells. I mean, it's random, but it's kind of what we are saying is that, there is randomness in throwing one coin. It will give heads sometimes and tails another one. There is randomness in 2 coins, but if you throw 2 trillion coins, then, the number of heads will be, if not exactly 1 trillion, it will be 1 trillion plus minus 0.00001% precision, let's say. This is the law of large numbers, So basically, that's it. When we have a lot of bacteria deciding whether we split or not, then if they split with 10% probability, then the number of new cells will be 10% of that trillion cells. So, well, this is the main idea. This is the number of new cells, but now, as I called the number of bacteria x of t, which is a more concise notation than n bacteria, then as A was 0.4 increment of t, what we are saying is that the increment of x in a base time interval will be, if the time interval is small enough, 0.4 increment of t times x. So if we now make the increment of t infinitesimal, we can write that the time derivative, the velocity of population increase, is 0.4 times x, just by dividing by increment of t over there. So this is our basic differential equation arising from applying the law of large numbers, the mean, let's say, to my individual cell statistical model when I have trillions of them. And this differential equation is the one responsible for the exponential growth of my population, because indeed we know that the solution of this differential equation is this thing, which has this plot, starting from a small seed population, it explodes exponentially. This is an unstable response in this differential equation, and indeed it is the solution to the differential equation, because if I take derivatives, then the derivative of this, it is 0.4 times exponential of 0.4 in English it's point, 0.4 exponential of 0.4t x0, and indeed this is a copy of x of t, so for sure this verifies this differential equation, and it has this exponential growth. And for instance, one parameter of interest in unstable systems is the so-called duplication time, which is the time in which the population, if this is x0, then the time it takes to reach to x0. This is duplication time. And how can we compute it? Well, it's easy. If we say that xt must be equal to 2x0, then replacing x of t as this exponential x0, then we just need to solve the equation exponential of 0.4t equal 2. And the solution to this equation will be the duplication time, and taking logarithms will be 0.4t equal natural logarithm of 2, so duplication time will be natural logarithm of 2 divided by 0.4, and this gives, if you type it in your calculator, let's say, or MATLAB or whatever, depending on your software, this will be log or ln, natural logarithm. Well, the thing is that in MATLAB, it gives 1.73 time units, let's say hours, for instance, in our bacterial growth. So if I have 100 cells, then after a bit less than 2 hours, I will have 200. After another 1.73 hours elapse, I will have 400, then 1.73 hours, 800, and so on, for instance. Of course, the exponential of 0.4 times this 1.73 yields duplication, but if I put 24 hours, then the population multiplies by close to 15,000 times the initial population. So if I had 100 cells, then I will have 1.5 million. And if I put this thing to grow for 2 days, the population would multiply by 200 million. So 10 cells will grow in 2 days to more than 2 billion cells. So they will colonize, let's say, the milk and convert it into yogurt or whatever. So this is the duplication time associated to the exponential growth of unstable first-order systems. The next refinement we may think of is considering a manipulated tank in which I am able to add new live bacteria, if I wish so, via this feeding pipe, or I am able to extract bacteria by this effluent pipe. So if I call the net number of cells per unit time that I insert or extract from the bioreactor, then the manipulated bioreactor will have this new equation in which I have an input variable u that I can use, for instance, to design a controller in order to keep the population of cells inside the bioreactor at a given prescribed value. I mean, if I don't do closed loop control, this is unstable, because in order to achieve zero growth, my control u must be exactly minus 0.4x, so that I cancel the natural growth of my microorganism. But of course, that means that in order to keep this population constant, I need to measure x, I need to measure that population and compute that control law cancelling the growth. But again, I mean, details on control for this bioreactor are out of the scope of this video, so we will end our presentation here by summarizing what we have discussed. In this video, we have thought on a way of modeling these kind of systems via a microscopic statistical model in which the probability of one cell dividing is a given growth rate times the increment of time, and that we assume that true only for infinitesimally small increment of time. And then if we assume that, the law of large numbers will tell me that the number of new cells that split is just the probability of splitting times the number of cells. So I get this finite time increment equation that, when things go infinitesimal, yield this first order unstable dynamics, which predicts this exponential growth. And we discussed the concept of duplication time, and we also discussed that this is a free response, but we can introduce a manipulated inflow or outflow, depending on the sign, manipulated variable u, which will be the base model for a controlled bioreactor, so that we can make the population follow prescribed time trajectories, which will be addressed in forthcoming videos. So for the moment being, we end here. Thanks for watching.